Welcome everyone. I would like to show you my progress. My topic is the use of augmented reality in dental implant placement. I am Takács from the Department of Community Dentistry. My mission is to improve patient satisfaction with implants, and my vision is the use of augmented reality-based navigation in the everyday clinical practice. Here you can see an overview of my two topics. I would like to start with the first one, which is about the accuracy of different implant placement techniques. In current clinical use, we have freehand method, which may cause prosthetically inadequate implant positions, iatrogenic damage, or aesthetic complications. Then we have dynamic navigated implant placement, which forces surgeons to alternate their attention between the monitor and the surgical area, and static guidance using the surgical guides, which need additional space in the oral cavity and may also endanger the cooling of the drills. Augmented reality-based implant placement is a novel approach based on the superimposition of the preoperative plan on the surgical area. This way, the mentioned problems could be eliminated. So our aim is to investigate if a clinically acceptable accuracy is achievable using this new method. Our clinical question is basically the accuracy of all available implant placement techniques, and our hypothesis is that the augmented reality-based method would achieve the greatest implant placement accuracy. Here you can see the details of our systematic search, and here is our flowchart of selection. We ended up with 105 articles in total after the citation chasing phase. Our outcomes are given in means with confidence intervals. All outcomes are measured as absolute values, so they are all positive. And the first, here you can see my main figures. Due to the lack of time, I can only show you the three most important ones. And I would like to start with the angular deviation, which is measured between the axis of the planned and the placed implant positions. And the clinically acceptable accuracy of implant placement was set to maximum 5 degrees. As you can see this forest plot, only the freehand method surpassed this limit, which is very promising considering that the other techniques were all clinically acceptable. And the robot-assisted implant placement showed a tendency for the highest accuracy. The second one is the coronal global deviation, measured between the most coronal central points of the planned and the placed implant positions. The clinically acceptable accuracy was maximum 1.5 millimeters. And you can see that the freehand method's confidence interval had values surpassing this limit, but the rest of the subgroup's confidence intervals were inside of this range, so they were clinically acceptable. The best result, tendency for the best result was achieved by the static group. Apical global deviation is measured between the most apical central points of the plans and the placed implants, and the clinically acceptable accuracy is 1.5 millimeters. Out of all subgroups, freehand and augmented reality-based implant placement had higher values. The rest were clinically acceptable, and the robot group showed a tendency for the most accurate results. The strength of this study is that we included all implant placement methods and evaluated with all measurement types. And we conducted this according to a previously published protocol. The limitation is that we could only include in vitro studies, and in some subgroups there were only a small number of articles. Also, the heterogeneity was high in all cases. Our conclusion, First of all, guided surgery, and out of that, the fully guided method and robot-assisted implant placement provided the highest accuracy of all methods. The novel methods, so the augmented reality-based and the robot-assisted ones, were promising alternatives for the future, and the freehand method had a tendency to achieve the lowest accuracy amongst all groups. In practice, wider use of the guided methods is advised, and also they should be introduced to a broader audience. For research, more in vitro and clinical studies are needed, and also outcomes and results should be published in a more consistent and transparent way. You can see my progress here. We are ready with the article, and we have submitted it to the Journal of Dentistry. At the moment, we got requests for revision, and we are working on this. My second topic is about MSc students' learning curve of augmented reality-based navigation and conventional dynamic navigation. As you could hear, dynamic navigation has this problem of alternating attention between monitor and surgical area. And augmented reality-based navigation lacks this problem. However, there hasn't been any study published about the learning curve of this method. We only know that the dynamic navigation, the conventional one, has a steep learning curve. So our clinical question is basically the learning curve accuracy of these two methods. And our hypothesis is that augmented reality-based navigation is faster to learn and to achieve a better accuracy. This way, we would like to offer an easy-to-learn method and decrease iatrogenic complications, achieve better aesthetic and biomechanical results. We would like to include MSc dental students, and we would like to conduct implant placement on 3D printed resin mandibles. We would like to exclude people with previous experience in implant placement. Here you can see a draft of our protocol. Currently, we are working on this. We would like to have a first team working with augmented reality-based navigation, and then the second team working using the conventional dynamic navigation. And our primary outcome would be the learning curve formed by implant placement accuracy. So here is an overview of my projects. And I would like to thank you for your attention with a quote from Verne. "Science, my boy, is composed of errors, but errors that it is right to make, for they lead step by step to the truth."
I have a question. In your first topic, was there any previous systematic review or meta-analysis about this topic?
Yes and no. So out of all the interventions, the robot subgroup is totally new. So this would be the first meta-analysis on that. About the augmented reality-based navigation, there is one quite recent article, and there are many previous meta-analyses on the static freehand and the dynamic guidance.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the presentation. I have a question about your second project. I was wondering if maybe you were thinking about investigating other outcomes besides the learning curve, for example, such as how much time do the students or the practitioner needs for the actual implant placement, and maybe compare them between the two groups, the assisted one and the conventional one?
Yes, thank you for the question. We've been actually wondering about measurement of operation time, and also about, so if the learning curve has a plateau phase, we've been wondering about the amount of implants placed until the given individual reaches this phase. But this whole project is in the, so it's something we have to discuss more about, and it's in the protocol drafting phase. So these outcomes are changing.
But are there any studies on this topic that you found? Because I was wondering, for example, how many implants would someone need, for example, to reach that plateau phase of the learning curve, if you have any idea?
There aren't any studies, and well, our major problem is that even if there are studies about the dynamic navigation, they differ too much. So there are studies which were just measuring the operation time and creating a learning curve from that. There were other studies which were measuring implant placement accuracy, and they, for example, measured the angular deviation, coronal global and apical global, and they gave the accuracy as raw data and created a learning curve for only one outcome. So this is why it's pretty hard to create this protocol, because there is not so much to base us on. And the same problem is with the number of implants to be placed or the operators to include in this study.